Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today, as this is our Friday podcast episode, and we are going to get into how the energies have powerfully shifted over the past week since Neptune entered Aries. Now, I'm going to do a little bit more of an analysis here on why this shift happened this week, because a lot was opened up in the energetics that relates directly to progressive change, new paradigm leadership, new versions of personal empowerment, and what this means for you going forward, coming from a place of energetic awareness, wisdom, responsibility, and empowered actions. Yes, we've got a lot going on right now in the collective as well as within ourselves individually. Are you feeling it? Did you feel a frequency shift this week? Like something just came out that was clearer, stronger, more active, more alive, more rebellious? Did you feel some type of awakening that held a lot of clarity and strength? Because that is definitely what has occurred over the past number of days. And it's also on full display in the collective, as today, Friday, January 30th, here in the US, there is a general national strike happening around the country that's about no work, no school, no shopping, asking for people nationwide to protest ICE, and how that energy has picked up from last week when this strike first started back on January 23rd in Minnesota. So all of this demonstrates the powerful astrological influences of this time, including the stellium of energies in Aquarius, the people, collective action, progress, revolution, evolution, disrupting the status quo, and so much more. So let's look at the significance of Neptune finally leaving Pisces, entering into Aries during this pivotal time of the Aquarius stellium, because it all relates. So when Neptune was in Pisces, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. So here is Neptune in its natural sign of trust, imagination, intuition, mysticism, otherworldly insights, very open and receptive. There's a sense of being in a flow when Neptune is in Pisces, which has been the case since 2011. Neptune has traveled through all 30 degrees of Pisces, inviting us into more of our intuitive energies, channeling abilities, psychic gifts, asking us to detach from the physical world, find some healthy forms of escapism as well as the unhealthy forms that come up. Plus, this energy of Neptune in Pisces has been in the home energy that it loves the most, so therefore it relaxes and exhales. There is a deep comfort with Neptune in Pisces that allows us to just float along, enjoy the view, take in the scenery, move with the tides of energy, and trust deeply in the experiences that we're having without forcing anything. So we've been in a very intense experience of trusting the process. This is certainly about divine timing and the miracle energies that the universe creates. Neptune and Pisces is about being easygoing, not inserting ourselves, not forcing anything. It's the end of the zodiac. It's the final sign of cohesion, completion, release, and transcendence. It is also the crown chakra that has been highly active and a big part of our spiritual growth and how to be more spiritually evolved human beings. So with Neptune in Pisces, we've all had certain levels of delusion, escapism, disassociation, things we haven't wanted to fully understand or embrace. Maybe the energy just wasn't there. It didn't call to you. We've all been in some kind of collective unconscious dream. And astrologically, adding to this influence was that Neptune in Pisces was in the final dispositor energy, which means a planet in its rulership is going to be quite influential and dominant, especially when it's an outer planet. So this Neptune has had a big impact on us as it moved through Pisces. Then on Monday, it re-entered Aries. Now, yes, it was in Aries in 2025 as well for about 6 months. So we sampled it and we had an understanding of what we were ready to begin and initiate, the new life chapters that we were sampling or determining how much of this is really for me. New openings were coming through and the energy was changing, especially the background frequency as Neptune moved into the very beginning of the zodiac, which is Aries. So we've been in this energy before, but this week in January, there was much more intensity. And that's because as Neptune moved into Aries, Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is currently in Aquarius, conjunct Pluto, and working with a stellium of energies in Aquarius. So now this Neptune is out of dreamland, is removed from marshmallow world, and can no longer live off of a cotton candy diet. Now Neptune had a bright, dramatic awakening moving into Aries, ruled by Mars, the warrior, the initiator, the one who takes action, who is in the fixed air of Aquarius, conjunct Pluto no less, and the activations are powerful, strong, clear, and life-changing. Did you feel any kind of life-changing frequency move through you this week? Any kind of new passion, expanded ideas, bigger understandings? Did you have a jolt of some kind that moved you into a new version, new choices, new understandings of relationships and who you are in those relationships? That's part of Neptune in Aries, the self, the individual, the courage to be independent and to live life based on your own energies. Connecting with the strong influence of Aquarius, which is the differentiated individual. Knowing who you are at an energetic level, how you are unique, what you're here to contribute, more about what matters to you in the collective, understanding what calls to you, what activates you, what you want to contribute to, and bringing up more about your understanding of how your energy contributes to the mosaic of the new paradigm, the new era that we are actively creating and experiencing. This is fast-moving, accelerated energy. It's very different than the slower, drifting, passive energy that Neptune in Pisces was holding us in. Now is the time for stronger, more empowered flows of energy to guide you forward. And it's probably bringing up who you are in the world, what matters to you, what calls to you. And in Aquarius especially, the energies are about community, collective, friendships, groups, networks, shared ideas, different visions, brilliance, genius, new ways of conceptualizing your time on the planet, and more understanding of what you're ready for that maybe you weren't ready for even last week. But that's why this shift has been so dramatic. And so now the chain of energy of Neptune in Aries goes to Mars. Okay, so this follows the rulership of the planets in signs. And so with Mars in Aquarius, moving away from that conjunction to Pluto, that triggered intense evolutionary realizations. Maybe you felt something physically moving through you. Maybe you had some kind of lightning strike insight or new awareness. Maybe there was just some intense feelings moving through you with that Mars triggering any kind of anger, impatience, rage, desire, creation abilities, and what you want to take action towards. All of a sudden, there's a lot of movement now in the collective field. And so Mars in Aquarius is co-ruled by both Uranus and Saturn. If we follow the energy trail to Uranus, Uranus is in Taurus, which leads us back to Venus rulership, or we follow the co-rulership trail to Saturn, Saturn being in Pisces, Pisces ruled by Neptune. And I know this is a little bit more advanced. Don't worry if you're not following me, if this all sounds like gobbledygook, but I wanted to go through this for those who are more advanced, because now you see that Neptune moving into Aries opens up this whole new energy trail that's connecting so many more planets and bringing about new developments, actions, and revelations that we've been sitting on, detached from, unaware of, or unconscious of. Now we are entering into a new phase of awakening, and it's happening with the jolt of an alarm bell going off. And that's part of the transition of Neptune from the sleepy state of Pisces into the alarm clock blaring you awake Aries. A new beginning is here. A new beginning is very strong and pronounced, and it's meant to get you up out of bed, moving and grooving, and taking inventory and stock of what you're doing with your life now. What is calling to you? What's the next vision, the next dream? Where are you energized? Where are you feeling this is what I'm being drawn to? These are action-oriented energies, and that's part of what we're moving through this year. Now, a part of this is that there's things you can't wait on. There's things that you're going to sense or feel. You can't hold back. You can't take 2 weeks to make a decision. You've got to make a decision in 2 hours, or the energy moves on. So that is one thing to be very aware of here, is that things are going to be happening at a faster pace. There's going to be more spikes. There's going to be more combustion points, more tower moments, more sudden revelations and sudden developments. I'm also feeling like this is being felt at a mental level for all of us, like we are understanding a lot more. Things are clicking or coming together. More is being revealed and being seen. And it's almost like we have opened up a new collective neurological grid where we are communicating with each other beyond what we fully understand. So it's not just simply telepathy. There's something about having access to the tribal mind and collective knowledge bases that we can now readily tap into more effortlessly and more easily. That is also a big part of the shift, as well as the strong focus of the Aquarius energies. And with the strong Aquarius energies, you can be pulled out of yourself. You can be pulled into other conversations, ideas, and collective frequencies that may actually be distractions from what is essential for you to own and embody now. And how I'm feeling this is that Neptune in Aries is asking you to come back into your core self and to connect with who you are now, to hear more of these personal messages from your soul that have previously been up in the crown chakra. And now is a time to see this energy flow into the root chakra, which is Aries, and to connect with the strength of who you are, and also acknowledge the beauty of who you're becoming, because this is a fire energy. It is very active, inspired, motivational, and wants you to work with it. There's movement here. And so the energy comes into that root chakra and is asking you to tap into new levels of personal power about standing in your gifts, your abilities, your journey, and your experiences. There are new levels of self-leadership present that only you can tune into and feel into, because this is Neptune in Aries inviting you into more of your core self, inviting you to allow your spiritual journey up to this point to be deeply integrated at a whole new level that is also clearing out and removing previous imprints, emotions, or core wounds that have traveled with you up to this point. And so this relates to the ways we feel safe in our body and in our energy on the planet. And I'm seeing this directly relate to our psoas muscle. That's psoas. psoas. The psoas muscle is often described as the seat of the soul or the muscle of the soul. It is a core survival muscle that connects the lower body to the spine and the nervous system, and it's where we carry our deep imprints of safety, fight or flight, instinctual responses of all kinds, as well as where we energetically store fear, shock, survival, what you've lived through, what you've had to endure. This is where you could even have very tight energies that are here to protect you, to help you brace for something, or if you're holding mistrust of others. The psoas is where we also unconsciously store stress, trauma, fears, those deep emotional imprints, anything we're suppressing. If there is grief, anger, anxiety, it can show up as holding patterns in this muscle. Now, it is a muscle that actually moves between the root chakra and the sacral chakra. You can easily look up a diagram online of how it appears on the physical body. But this is a time to consciously work with your psoas muscle to allow it to soften, to release, to stretch and unwind, to open it up, and to know that as you release from this place, you could be releasing not only tight muscles and discomfort, but there can be emotions that flow out of you simply because you've been holding them here. And so this directly relates to Neptune in Aries, where Aries reconnects us to the body, the root chakra, how we feel safe and confident on the planet, as well as in our lives. And this would be one way to lovingly support your energy field. Stretching, relaxing, working with waves of movement, trauma release, or any kind of suppressed energies can be found here. And it's by doing this intentional work, physically, energetically, emotionally, and otherwise, that you're going to be able to be more powerful in yourself and in your aura, in your physical body and in your emotions. But it's also where Neptune is directing us to invite more of the flows, invite in the movement here that reminds you you are safe on the planet. You are here with power, confidence, and intention. And there is more support than ever before to trust yourself regardless of what you've been through. And that's because we've all been through a lot. There's been a lot happening on our healing path that has required us to look at our sense of self, to go into our emotional body, to heal our inner child, to be open to our shadow self and what we are powerfully transforming with consciousness now. All of this powerfully relates to Neptune in Aries. It will bring up survival patterns. It'll bring up independence. It will bring up trust, safety, and your emotional self. And all of this can be regenerated with new levels of personal power now that are a part of your new becoming, the way you are rebirthing yourself that is starting quite powerfully here in late January and will continue especially into February and March, because we're going to see these planets that are a stellium in Aquarius move to be a stellium in Pisces and then a stellium in Aries and so on. So we're working with stelliums here that highlight the energies of each sign, and as they travel together, we're going to tap into new layers of ourselves, new messages, new invitations, and new parts of ourselves that we are ready to fully own and embody. So this is an invitation from Neptune that's very powerful. And in a few weeks, Saturn enters into Aries as well. And of course, we know they have their conjunction, and that begins a new synodic cycle, which is similar to a new moon, only it's between two outer planets. So therefore, it's going to have more of an effect on our collective consciousness, on our global events, on where we are moving as a human family, and the new starts that are happening in our evolution. And so all of this is quite big and significant. And then you're listening to this and you're like, Molly, I take the same train to work. I have the same coffee every day. Nothing is changing in my world. I don't know what you're talking about with all these big world changes, because I still have my feet on the ground walking on the same path to and from work. So yes, you do. Yes, there are things that are steady and perhaps reliable right now. But please note that this is a year of dynamic changes. This is where there's going to be many shocks this year, many things suddenly ending and changing, like jaws on the floor. What the frick just happened? It's right on time, but OMG. And so we're going to need to have our core strength to tap into. And we're going to need to return to our own energy for more wisdom, understanding, confidence, and empowerment. And that's an assignment for all of us right now. So this is also where it's important to clear out anything from the past or present that is keeping you in a lower Aries frequency. Anything that is infringing on your ability to fully love yourself, to own your energy, to be in your power in this lifetime. And that's bigger for some people than for others. That could feel very significant for you, or maybe it's not. But let me see if off the top of my head, I have any examples of personal attacks. Yeah, in fact, I do. So unhealed individuals who want something from you are always going to do what they can to target and attack you. Every industry has lowlifes. Every industry has people who want more because they don't have enough. Unhealed individuals are very evident by their actions, their words, and their behavior, and they tend to gather people around them to appear more intimidating, more powerful, more influential. But what they're also doing is energy harvesting, and they use old programming to draw people in, to siphon energy, use their energy to become or appear more powerful, and to also manipulate many individuals, to be master manipulators who hide behind charisma in order to control a narrative. And it's really, really important that you believe their narrative. If anything challenges that image or that narrative, then they go on full-on attack mode because they're trying to protect everything they've built, everything they have falsely developed that isn't real. So the false prophets, the false actors, the industry lowlifes who rely on lies, half-truths, manipulation, behind-the-scenes gossip. These are the individuals who are being exposed. These are people who do anything they can, energetically, spiritually, physically, and otherwise, to remain in control. They have been doing tactics that are complicated. And so when there are these forms of attacks, targeted attacks that are unfolding, this is not simply about addressing someone. This is not about, well, why aren't you going to stand up and face the bully or say something? That perspective is understood. It's also wildly naive in the complicated energies that are involved. There's much more at play here than what meets the eye. These are not even people who want to resolve anything. They want to keep escalating. They want a reaction. They want a response, because all of that is energy harvesting. Rage baiting is energy harvesting. They want something from you to validate them, and they want it to be on their terms. So these are individuals that you do not engage with. You do not engage with. You do not need to defend. You do not prove. You do not need to respond or reply. Rather, these are individuals who are actively embodying and demonstrating old programming to try and keep you into a particular energy field. And that energy field has specific roles. That someone is a bully and someone is a victim. That someone is a perpetrator. That someone is horrible and someone is good. It keeps people in a controlled narrative so that everything looks a certain way. And this is where you have to see it for what it is, which is that it is complicated. These are people who don't have ethics, who don't have morals, who are, again, the industry lowlifes. They don't have credibility, especially if they've been in a mental institution. They take drugs for their brain every day. They've been professionally and clinically diagnosed with multiple mental issues. These are serious things. These are serious documented sociopathic diagnoses. You do not engage with these people. These are people who are demonstrating some of the most diabolical and evil energies on the planet, but they hide behind the false facade and the charisma and the storylines, and they try to gather people around them to appear more powerful. But again, they are just energy harvesting. And they are also obsessive and very one-sided. These energies are bigger right now because they're losing control, because they are closing out their own cycle. And their power tactics do not work anymore because people are catching on. Finally, people are seeing it for what it is, understanding the dynamics, how ridiculous it is, how one-sided it is, also asking why. Why would you target someone who's done nothing to you? And that's because people target what's above them. They don't target what's below them. They target what's above them because that person has something they want, something they desire, and something they think they can powerfully obtain. It's sort of like maybe you think you're making all the shots and scoring all the baskets because you don't realize you're the only one on the court. No one else is playing. NBA professional players are not going to their local junior high for a pickup game. NBA professionals are focused on excellence, are focused on their own training, their own abilities. They're focused on what they're contributing and what they need to get done. So here you have some big discrepancies between the industry lowlifes and then the true professionals who really want to make a difference, who are here to support others and are not going to be swept into the nonsense, the tactics, and the manipulations. Part of what they want is to lure you into the lion's cave and then surround you with hyenas. You've got to see the game for what it is, and that's why you do not engage. You do not put your energy towards these types of people. And that's part of what you have to stand strong in as we move into 2026. Let the universe take care of them. Be detached. Be in your power. Be in your strength of who you are, knowing that that's what the universe sees and that's where the universe comes through and supports you. Their one-sided obsession is no one else's problem, is no one else's energy. That's their insecurity, their fear, their jealousy, all their stuff to deal with. And of course, I share this because at the McCord School of Confidence and Awesomeness, none of those tactics work. None of those tactics land. It's like they really give it their best shot and then they land 10 feet too short. As my guides say, it's embarrassing to be them. So keep in mind that we're going to see this more and more right now. We're going to see this at a bigger scale. This is going to be part of the dramatic, sudden energies and changes that we're going to be witnessing and experiencing. But as long as you're aware of it, you can see it for what it is. It's more transparent than a sliding glass door. It's more obvious than ever because we have become stronger energy masters. And they will try anything, including remote viewing you, your friends, and your family, having readings done on you, going into your Akashic records to get information about your path, looking to break up anything in your energy field that supports what you're here to do and offer humanity. These are people who regularly interfere on your energy, violating all boundaries, all rules, hire people to direct spell work at you, hire people to direct energy at you. Hire people to harm your family, your son, your friends. This is no joke. This is no game. This is the level of energy on this planet. Done has been guided and protected by my galactic team, giving me information and intel, showing me the path, showing me the way, showing me what to do so I won't miss a thing, powerfully protecting me, and that continues on. I'm not afraid. I've said it before. I can't be intimidated. I can't be distracted. I can't be taken off my path. And I share this so that you find strength for anything you need to handle. And you can do so with confidence, power, and support from the universe. There are many of us who are on the front lines. You are the front line light workers. And the light workers go into the darkest, shadowiest parts. That's the point. That's where the transformation happens. That's when real evolution occurs. And this is a time to power up with no distractions, no compromises, and no entertaining the old paradigm. That is the call right now. That is what's being asked of each of us individually and collectively. We are each here to do our part based on what you have accumulated across lifetimes, what you have earned and experienced and mastered. Each of us came in with that. Each of us is here to not only own that, but to take it forward and have a beautiful new experience on this planet without these evil, diabolical people thinking they are influential, important, or all-powerful. Our experience of humanity is changing. Our experiences of each other are changing. And that is how humanity is evolving. And that's what's coming in strong right now, clearly through Molly. Clearly, I'm sharing with you my very pure, honest energy that I'm feeling strongly. And I hope whatever you're feeling, you can recognize that it's right on time for your life, your journey, and this year. So Neptune moving into Aries, much bigger and more complicated energies than what we've had before. This is the activation, this is the acceleration, and this is where we're going this year. We're also in the final weeks of the unwinding of the wood snake. This is where there are meant to be things that are over and complete as part of your evolution. Whatever has been intense and emotional for you, hopefully you feel you're at a threshold of powerful change. And we're also going to sense that a part of ourselves have died and gone away, that who we once were, the identities we once had, are deeply changing and shifting in support of these new parts of ourselves that are uploading and becoming very active at a cellular level. So take care of yourself right now. Listen to your body and your energy. Trust if you need movement, you need more stretching and action and activity. Trust what is being brought to your awareness. The lightning fast insights are off the chain right now. You could have some big breakthroughs and tower moments, and things just start happening at a rapid pace because that's where our consciousness is going. As Ram Dass is quoted as saying, "I can do nothing for you but work on myself. You can do nothing for me but work on yourself." And right now, that's one of the best gifts we can give each other and humanity. So wishing you a beautiful weekend, a glorious Leo full moon, and I'll be back next week with more podcasts.